read these. I'll read part of it. N'nako, or AKA N'nako, Good Health Queen, bilingual poet, author, artist, artisan. She is founder of N'nako, a holistic beauty and cultural lifestyle brand, a French-speaking creative born in Côte d'Ivoire, proudly shares her cultural heritage and love for all things natural. In all her works, her books, and her poetry performances are meant to take you on a journey, as she usually performs both in French and English. And there's a lot more. You can read the details. Kelly Hanwright, known as AKA Authentic, is the author of The Locust Years, which is on the table right there. And I should have mentioned, we do have tables for both of our artists represented in sidetrack. Locust Years, a survival memoir in poetry about growing up with a parent who had undiagnosed schizophrenia. Kelly is best of the net, two-time Pushcart Prize nominee. Work has appeared in Birmingham Arts Journal, Soul Lit, Heart of Flesh Journal, American Diversity Report. Kelly is an active member of both writing groups, Chattanooga Writers Guild and Ryman Chat, interactive poetry. And we do have tables back there. Tonight, these poets represent two poetic groups, two cultures, and it is such I think a unique thing that the love of, I put it in there, the love of Princess Poessa, our love of poetry brings us together. So we will start out with, we're going to take turns, each of them sharing a poem, and we'll have some time to talk about them. And then we will, at some point, we're going to read the ones that they have printed here, because these are kind of some special ones. We'll have spend a little extra time because we get to follow along, and then we can do some more questions. We don't have an order. This is, I'm going to flip a coin. Who wants to go first? Left, right, left, right? Okay, Kelly, that sounds like Kelly's going to go first, and we're just going to let you share one. And we haven't really, sometimes we do them as a thematic thing, but I think it's just going to be random things here tonight. Go ahead, Kelly.
I don't know, we'll see. Maybe a theme will organically develop, right? I think it will. I'm going to start with, I know some people have already spoken to me about being interested in this poetic memoir, survival memoir, The Locust Years. So I'm going to start with a poem from the emergence phase. There's 4 phases in the book. So, as I was kind of emerging from some of as I was healing. Frank is my husband in the black and white, and he's been an amazing support and encouragement and a big part of my healing. So we just had our anniversary yesterday too, by the way, 15th anniversary. Thank you. This is our time. This is a time when fish jump in a murky pond. Behind the house, I share with a man whose presence is like first summer sun on bare shoulders. When rabbits rustle out of all the little thickets to perform their spastic gymnastics. When fireflies explore hidden worlds that they've created in corners. When deer engage us in conversations using just their eyes.
Spastic gymnastics. I love that kind of poetry because it's full of images. It's just peaceful. It's just a beautiful picture. And let's see. We haven't prepared questions either. But I wanted to ask you, and I'm going to ask you both this, why poetry and not just an essay? What goes on in the poetic mind that allows you to put that image into words?
Well, to me, it's poetry touches something deeper than just. To me, an essay requires right brain thought, like just organized. As you can tell, there are a lot of times when I can't put my thoughts into a framework. But for one thing, poetry allows me to just express and get out the emotional side of things. And it doesn't have to be a certain way. An essay has to have a framework, it has to have a thesis and all this stuff, but a poem can just be and kind of tell you what it wants to be on the way. And then it turns into something. The images, for me, this is how I write poetry, the images sort of come out first, and then the shape takes form later.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does. Yeah, the images are kind of carry it first. And have you always thought in images?
Actually,
like
I have.
Yeah.
Actually, I have. Even I dream in color, and I was shocked when I found out that that's not common. I've always dreamed in color, and I think in pictures more than, which is funny because I'm an English major and teacher, so an English teacher, and people are like, or a lot of writers, they'll think in words, but I think in pictures. It's almost like movies or just abstract art, maybe.
All right. So
It has to become words, which is, I guess, going back to why it's difficult for me to put things into words. But.
And then poets come up with funny ways to say it. Spastic gymnastics with the trout, or the fish, whatever it was. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
N'nako, what do you have to share?
The poem I'm going to do is in French. I'm starting in French. And it's a very short poem, and I'm going to follow it in English. And it's called Les Intentions. And intention is French for intention. Same spelling, same meaning. And I need to get up for this one.
Okay, is this the one that's printed on our?
Yes.
Okay, so we should follow along with this.
Yes, I figure I'll start with that one so everybody's here can get ready for some French poems.
So it's on the outside on the left side there. Les intentions.
Les
Okay.
intentions.
I will stop right now trying to practice French. So we can follow along. Go
Yeah.
ahead. This will be
But
great.
before I start, I want you guys, I'm going to play a background song. And the background song is from Edith Piaf, my favorite French artist. And the song is Sous le ciel de Paris, Under the Sky of Paris. So with this one, I want you to imagine you are sitting, having cafe in a Parisian bistro, and two people are having the conversation about intention, being intentional. And the poem is from my book, Potion and Passion. So here, the potion is tea, or coffee, cafe, and the passion is what comes out of the conversation. On se fait des guerres inutiles. On se dit des choses qui n'en valent pas la peine. On se paye pour des histoires futiles. Tant de temps perdu. Parlons franchement. Mais franchement. Mais, avec des intentions pures. Et des bons mots. I get this? I was in French version. We fight useless wars, futile wars. We say things that are pointless, that are not worth it. We hurt each other with insignificant issues. Let's speak frankly. Speak your truth, but with words that are kind and intentions that are pure. Present yourself.
Thank you. So we're going to talk about that. Oh, let's turn this on. Thank you, N'nako. What can you tell us more about the writing of this? What happened?
The writing of this is that I know we all have triggers, and a lot of times when we get mad, we justify our reaction by our triggers. We're like, oh, you made me mad. Oh, if you have done this, I would not have acted a certain way. And people like to say, I just like to tell it as it is. I speak my truth. Okay, speak your truth. But let's have some boundaries when you speak your truth. Let your word be kind. Just because you are hurting doesn't give you the right to hurt me back with your words. We are all hurting from something. We all have rages. We all have triggers. But does it give us a license to just speak our mind like we're not intelligent enough to choose the right words for it? So that's what the intentions are. So we're having coffee, we're having tea, we're going to make peace, intentions that are pure, hoping that through our conversation, we will make peace. But let our word be kind and let our word be fulfilled. And so this is the true story behind this, behind this book.
So was it written in French first?
Yes, it was written in French first.
And then what made you want to translate it?
The purpose of the book, Potion and Passions, potion signifies something we drink to heal, and passion is things we're passionate about. And I wanted to have a book that have French and English, because when I wrote my first poetry book last year, which was my 5th book, when I wrote my first poetry book last year, a lot of people that I know who live in Europe and Africa were like, we cannot really read your book because it's in English. So this time around, I wanted to give people the opportunity to enjoy my poetry both in French and in English. So the majority of the poems are in English and in French in this collection. And all the artwork in the book is also mine. I drew every single drawing in this book, including the cover.
So as a poet, I want to ask about the sounds of words. Because you have the French sounds of the words, and then these English words, American English, and very different sounds.
Definitely.
But typically in all poetry, there's something to do with the sound. For me, that's a huge element of it. But what does that mean to you?
I think for me, because I grew up speaking French, the sound in French comes faster, the rhyme comes faster. And I only learned English as my second language when I was 19. So I did not get to sing rhyme in English or learn rhyme. So I give myself the freedom to just express whatever I feel now. Because I feel like with French it's easy for me to find the right words to make it rhyme or to keep the meaning. But sometimes I feel like when I try too much to keep the sound together, I get lost in, the meaning get lost sometimes. Like I will use just words because they sound good, but they don't make sense to me once I put them together.
Right. Yeah, that's the tension that poets always deal with. I mean, if I wanted to just speak something and say, well, let me tell you how my day was, blah, 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 blah. And why would I call that poetry? It's just me talking and casual talk. There is something about poetry where we say, wait, there's an art form here, something about the sounds of the words, something in the way I'm taking this speech and making it an art form. And it's my choice to elevate my speech into something that people hear and it's not just talking. So, but that tension is like, oh, let's see, I want to say what I mean, but no, it doesn't sound very nice. Don't. I think that's
Well,
so
to me, I
typical.
think it depends. It's like when I was writing French poetry, like I say, it was easier to stick with the sound. But writing English poetry for me is more important to be authentic.
Yeah.
So I don't put myself in the boundaries of sticking to the sound. I give myself the freedom to just be me. And that's the luxury of being a poet or an artist. I'm like, I'm an artist. I got the right to express myself like I want to. So should I break a rule once in a while with the sound? I'm going for it.
Yeah.
That's how I see it, and that's the beauty of art. We got the rules, but we can also break them some.
Yeah, for sure. So hopefully I've asked some pretty good questions that have kept the audience intrigued. But I think Rhyme and Chat has the tradition of allowing all of us to interact. So I'm going to go ahead and go with that. And we've had 2 poems. You can ask to either one of the artists on these 2 last poems. And then we'll move on to 2 more poems. Any questions for either one of them? Okay, well, I must have asked good questions then. Okay, a hand. Hi.
I guess all of the conversation about doing the poetry in 2 different languages makes me want to ask, do you feel any type of difference in emotion when doing the 2 different languages the same poem?
I think I do. And I don't know if you heard that quote from Mandela. Nelson Mandela was to say, if you want to talk to someone for them to understand you, speak in English, in the language they understand. But if you really want to get to the heart of someone, speak to them in their language. So in that sense, when I do write in French, of course my brain is emotional. I can hear when I was 19, separated from my family for the first time, new world, new culture, new language. So French is comfort food, is a comfort zone, is safe. So when I write in French, I am more myself. When I write in English, I am somebody I have to learn to be, which is different.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Kelly, do you have another one to share? And do you want to share the one that's in the program?
Sure. Which one did you put it in?
Oh, you haven't seen it yet.
Is it guitar? I knew. I said before I even looked. You probably put the guitar one in there. Okay. I will. Oh, thank you. So I decided. I don't know. I've been considering a new collection. I've been considering it for a few years, actually. The rest of the poems are going to be focused around that collection, and it's to be called Twisted. It's all about perspective, but want it to be fun and engaging. I intend to put some art in it too. But this is, you might say, a piece of abstract art in words. Guitar by association. Strings, triangular sound flows in waves. Guts swell from pools of brown wood. Liquid gold knobs like 6 multifaceted eyes on a pinhead. The mood swings, lazy rhythm, some of jungle beats. Eclectic melody, sometimes sad. Hollow hug wrapped in an arm of cheap nylon with native patterns cushioned in black. Seams stitched up the back, jagged fossil spine. Paths to the sun, 6 hot steel coils. I strike with my hands, gray matter stretched across hollow cavern. Solidness. Rain drums out in the shiny night. Thank you. And yes, I made some changes. The whole thing is constantly in transition.
It seems like, well, there is an old saying that says, well, a poem is never finished, it just gets abandoned.
Yeah. I think this might be my most edited poem like ever.
Really?
Yeah.
But it's all the sounds of it are so wonderful. You know, just all these stretched across hollow cavern image of a guitar body, right? Yeah. Solidness, rain drums out of a shining night. Okay, so what's the story behind this?
Well, there's, I don't know, like the poem, there are all these pieces of story that go into this poem. I first started thinking of the collection, writing poems like this, as an English major. And we were studying modernist poetry, postmodernist poetry, open form. This was an experiment in open form. To explain what that means, I'm not sure how I could, but it's this kind of, I may have broken some rules. But it just,
What in the title, Guitar by Association, where'd that come from?
well, it started out as liquid guitar, and I didn't think that fit so well, and then I started thinking about the abstract quality that I wanted it to have. So it's all the pieces of a guitar, or not, maybe not all, but you can put a guitar together from the poem and see the different images, like almost up close, like zoom in on the coils, the strings, the strap, different parts. And so Guitar by Association just kind of came. Titles are not my thing, so I'm kind of proud of that one. The other part, you asked me like all the pieces. I had just inherited my dad's guitar. My dad had passed away, so I was playing it a lot.
Okay.
That was one reason I wrote about guitars.
Any other questions? Okay. N'nako, what do you want to share next?
This one is called Sun-Kissed. And it's also in French and in English. It's one poem, and I played between the French and the English of this one. And I need to
I'm going to
stand
move
up.
that. You want to stand? Can I just move it close to you? You can stand up if you want.
I can stand up. But I'm going to do this.
Okay. Can you just move it closer?
Okay.
Sorry about this.
And this one is going to sound like a love poem. It is a love poem. But it may sound like a romantic love poem. But I want to challenge you to think about the person that you want to love the most, or the person that you need to love first the most. So it's a love poem, and it's not exactly the kind of love poem one may think it is, but it's a self-love poem. And I'm intentionally using a lot of symbolism in it, anatomy, and certain references that are pretty symbolic that may be like, I don't use the word religion, but I use some words that make you think, that may make you think of mythology, of religion when you know some of the stories. Sun-Kissed. Ooh, I like to hear. Près sur tes lèvres, le soleil m'embrasse. Là, sur ma pommette. Descends un peu plus bas, vers mon omoplate, pendant que tu te tiens toujours derrière moi. Press your lips where the sun is kissing me. Right here, on my cheekbone. Go a little lower to my shoulder blade. As you still stand behind me. Will you come back up? Lean closer, please. Place your lips on my collarbones. Step down, all to my crevices, even further down to my ribcage. Presse tes lèvres où le soleil m'embrasse, où ma peau rayonne, où le sang coule avec une euphorie silencieuse, après que tu m'aies brossé le dos avec ton haleine. Press your lips where the sun is kissing me, where the skin glows, where the blood flows, with silent euphoria, after you brush my spine with your breath. Presse tes lèvres où le soleil m'embrasse, que nos corps deviennent un. Les rayons du soleil mettent à feu notre tendresse quand je murmure « Oh mon amour, combien je t'aime ». Press your lips where the sun is kissing me, where our flesh become as one, where the rays set our tenderness ablaze, when I whisper and moan « Oh my love, I love you so ». And that's it. Now it's on you.
So, that sounds pretty intimate. Do you want to tell us some of the intimate?
So,
Is he in this room?
no, nothing to worry about.
Yeah,
It's
I'm just
actually,
teasing you.
the poem was written during a hike. I was hiking nature, and I was just feeling the sun in, and the world just came.
Wow.
But the thing that's interesting, one may feel like it's a poem about a lover, an exterior lover. But you know, in mythology, we know about the god of sun, the sun god. So there's God, the sun, that's loving, shining on me, that is kissing me. We have a religious reference of kiss in the Bible, the kiss. So I use this kiss a lot. And we do have references about the ribcage in the Bible. So praise your lips down on my ribcage. Kiss me down on my ribcage. We also know that when somebody stands behind you or next to you, that's the image of somebody who has your back, somebody who's your protector, somebody's watching out for you. So you are keeping that person really close, right? So you're asking that person that's your protector, that person that's your keeper, that person that's your friend, to just stand there. And you ask them, stamp your lips on my crevices. We know that crevices are symbols for holes, dips, something where you may fall. So press your lips to my imperfection, accept me just as I am. So the poem talk about the euphoria of the silence, and she's saying, where the sun glows, kiss me where the sun glows. Like you have a light that shines the good things about you, your skin is vibrant, the sun is right there. Where the blood flows, where the blood is flowing, blood is life, blood is energy. And silent euphoria is getting to feel that joy of having that intimate relationship with whatever God you believe in. And the last part, when she say that the sun rays will set our tenderness ablaze. We know from biblical references there's the fire of the Holy Spirit. We know from biblical references that there's a fire singing for passion and things. So that goes with the symbolism of accepting the spirit of love, God is love, accepting that spirit of love and becoming one with that spirit. And then when you say, oh, I love you so, it's finally accepting there's a divine love available for all of us, and you are accepting that love into you, but in accepting you, you're also making yourself one with that light, with that energy, meaning that you are also going to be a vessel of love. So that's really what it is. There's no guy in the picture.
Wow. You know what? I am so impressed, and I'm so glad I asked, because you gave such a good explanation of it all that, I don't know, that when we hear a poem, sometimes we just hear the superficial, a quick read. This is the first time I heard it, I think. Maybe I have heard it before, another reading, but my point, maybe that's the best argument for written poetry, because I can buy the book and I can take it home and I can sit and read it and ponder it and think about it. So, but so much appreciate the work that went into it, that it is so much more than just a casual, I mean, there is a lot in there. And so it does make me want to say, hey, I'm going to buy that book and sit and read it one night. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, I think I just tapped into what I love about good quality poetry. Is it isn't just someone just rambling off something. They've taken their time, the art, the craft, and saying, I'm saying something, but I'm going to say it in a way that's artistically excellent, you know, and move it beyond. And even in the realm of poetry, moving it from an average poem into an excellent, something that's really worth writing and reading 10 times. So I thank you so much for that explanation.
Thank you.
I think everyone, y'all agree with that? Isn't that? So let's see. I'm going to let anyone else ask a question to N'nako on that poem because she did a great job of explaining it, though.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, let's see. If I read that again, when I get the book and read it, I maybe have some more questions. But I'm glad we got to hear it from the author, what it's all about. And someday in a literature class, a bunch of students will talk about that poem, right? Okay. I'm watching our time. We got time. If I don't ask so many questions and talk so much, I bet you can both do 2 more poems. So I'm going to turn you loose. Kelly, do you have another one?
Sure.
How's the sound? Can y'all hear okay now? All that quieted down out there.
I see like some echoes.
Okay. I think this might be one of the most interesting. I use poetry a lot for inner exploration to get things bring things out of myself that I haven't figured out yet. And I would say this poem touches on that. The frog who swam across the sun. Frozen over from the frigid night before, the water brightens, and the creature wakes from the muddy floor, swims up and up, until gliding just beneath the hard surface. On the far side of the pond, a yellow circle appears. They move toward each other. He uses only one stroke, pushing with his back legs and pulling with his front. He wants to reach that ball of brilliance, even if it boils him alive. He follows something intrinsically fixed, a compass whose due north is golden. He stretches, gliding through the translucent greenness, just a shade darker than himself. Then, suddenly, he is in the center of that frigid yellow sphere, as surprisingly cold as the glassy dark around him. Even so, he would remain, but kinetic energy bound up in his limbs from birth urges him onward, fingers and toes stretching, a misshapen blot against the sun.
Okay. What's the name of that?
The frog who swam across the sun.
Wow. Is there a metaphor in there, or is it just a description of a frog in your poem?
Yeah, there's got to be a metaphor. I'm pretty metaphorical.
Oh, yeah? You want to tell us about it?
Well, and like I was saying, I don't know how to explain this, but it's usually the images first, the pictures, and then then I figure out what they mean. And so I guess that's why I write in so many images and so many metaphors. But all I can tell you is it was a fascinating thought to think about. This is actually not something I saw, although I have been known to sit by ponds and stare into the reflection and just see what happens. But yeah, reflections in water are pretty fascinating to me for a myriad of reasons. But I just thought, I sat and I thought of a frog swimming, at sunrise, or like as the sun is really getting high, maybe 8 o'clock in the morning. And I thought, what would that be like? And then the little movie played, like it did in the poem, where he swims into the sun, but it's not hot. I mean, it's not going to be hot. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. Water's not even high yet. And it's not the sun, it is a reflection of the sun. So it's in reality going to be cold. It's like in the desert when you see a mirage of water and you go towards it to get a drink, but you're not going to actually be able to get a drink because it's still the desert. So, and then, the frog is not shocked by this because, he's a frog. But the part about wanting to stay, then I guess I shifted into spiritual mode and some ideas about, wanting to stay maybe in a comfortable place or a place of light, like, life, we shift through phases of light and dark, and you can't control it, just like the movement of water. And we also have to keep, in a pond there's such a thing as stagnation, but I don't know in life. I mean, we talk about, like, psychologically wise, you could talk about people stagnating, but in reality, we're always moving, Have you ever thought about that? We're always moving towards a destination, whatever that might be, and then when we reach it, we move towards the next destination because it's just how we are. We just can't control that. So then that was where the end sort of came from. And I don't have an exact answer.
All right. Yeah. Well, I can follow the idea of a moving target. I can follow.
Yeah.
All right.
It was more of exploring my own questions, I guess, or
Cool.
thoughts.
N'nako, what do you have to share for your next one?
My next one is called Mélodie d'amour, and it's poem from my first collection called Poems and Photographs. That poetry book was written as a mental health therapy project for me, where I use my pictures of nature therapy, gardening, hiking as illustration for the poetry book. So Mélodie d'amour is also sound like a love poem, but also one inspired by nature, like your poem. So I'll stand up again for this one. Right? That's the song. I'm not playing a background song with this one.
You want us to plug it into the PA?
I don't want it to be too loud, so I didn't know it was too loud to Mélodie d'amour, mélodie du jardin, mélodie de la terre, mélodie de chaque grain, mélodie de vie, melody of love, melody of the garden, melody of the earth, melody of the story, melody of the seed, melody of life. Tu me fais vivre corps, âme et esprit. Tu me réjouis avec le son du vent, des oiseaux et des abeilles. You keep me alive, mind, body, and soul. And you lift my heart with the sound of the wind, the buzz of the bees, the tweet of the birds. Mélodie d'amour, mélodie de l'eau, mélodie de chaque goutte, mélodie de vie. Melody of love, melody of the water, melody in every drop, melody of life. J'entends ton son serein
defense in me now. I hear your serene song that keep my soul dancing. Melody of life, melody of the earth, melody of nature. I hear your serene song that keep my heart dancing.
Thank you. Do we have questions? That's a fascinating poem. We could talk about it a long time. I'm not sure we should, but just briefly, can you tell us some background on it?
The background on it is that I think like nature has a song and a sound. One thing that I like to do during the fall season is like to stand, like when you hike during the fall, if you stand, you'll see like the leaves dancing. Or sometimes you're driving somewhere, you see like the leaves twirling and dancing. And it's like to me, they're dancing to that song, to that sound of the wind, right? So sometimes I will go hiking and I'll just stand there and record like the leaves like falling before I get to step on it and they start cracking. I get to record like the leaves are falling and there's a sound. And water got a sound. We all know that water got a sound. That's why we have water fountains. That's why we go. The ocean got a sound. Water got a sound. So melody of life is like hearing the music in nature. And when I talk about like melody of the seed, melody of the earth, it's like we may not think that the seed has a song to it, but every seed produces a different plant or different things. So it has a different programming to it. But by the time you get inside of it and you consume it, there's that thing with vibrations. And vibration for musician is sound. So that's what melody of life is. And when I say you make my soul dancing, I don't think that without music I could survive. And I don't think that without nature I could survive. So that's what I refer to. And that's what I say, you keep me alive, mind, body, and soul. Because to me, that's a music in nature that really keeps me, personally, that's a music in nature that keeps me going.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Kelly, what do you have? This might be our Christian to the end here.
I'll read Twins. A heron stands in the pond looking at his own reflection. No, not really. Actually, looking for prey. He doesn't notice his reflection at all. It stands quietly under him on its head, never needing to come up for air. When he lifts his wings to rearrange them, the heron in the water rearranges his, too. Gray bird in muddy water, still somehow clear enough to reflect. Like now we see through a glass, darkly. Like we are supposed to be reflections of Jesus. And even though we live in this tainted world where there is so much gray, though we ourselves are tainted, you can still see God's reflection in us, his complexion sometimes muddied through our imperfection. Yet, like that pond, there is enough otherworldly quality about us to let his reflection shine through.
I don't know if that needs as so clear. But a meditation. You go out one day and you see this heron in the pond. Start pondering about
Yeah, basically.
that, and next thing you know, you've got a whole metaphor of life and God and theology in a pond.
I guess metaphysical.
Sweet.
That poem is, yeah.
Was that written pretty recent? When did you write that?
All of these have been constantly messed with when I start working on Twisted again. Twisted's been like kind of a pet project that's just, I didn't want to force it, I just wanted it to simmer, and simmer it has. So when I start thinking of one of these will start kind of playing in my mind, and I'll go, I need to go look at that again. So, and I've tweaked even before the show, but
Is that one in Locust Years? It's
no,
not. That's in the new one.
these are coming in Twisted.
Twisted, okay.
Something to look forward to.
Yes,
Did you share anything tonight out of Locust Years?
I did. The
Which
first
one?
one that I shared was Our Time for Frank,
Okay. That's in
and it
Locust
was
Years.
in the Emergence segment.
All right, yeah, you said.
Yes.
All right. N'nako, what do you have?
Okay, what I have is a brand new poem that I actually added right before publishing this one, and it's called The Self-Love Blessing. And, well, it's about self-love and blessing. But there's a backstory to this. The thing is that the night before I decided to share this poem, I got a phone call from someone, from an artist in West Africa. And when I told that person what I was working on, the person said, I'm going to offer you a dua. And the dua is a word for blessing. So I wrote the self-love blessing, and you'll understand, but I need a prop for this. My prop is this drawing that's actually mine. I drew this piece, and I drew this piece after spending time in nature and hiking and spending a lot of time in the water. And I'm not standing up for this one, but my prop will be a veil, and you'll understand in a minute the self-love blessing. If you want a love potion and a loyal lover, drink first to love yourself. If you want a life full of passion, first commit to your own health. The self-love blessing, I bless my mind, je bénis mon esprit. I bless my mind with discernment and good judgment. I bless my mind with wisdom and clarity. I bless my mind to focus on what is my business to focus on, losing interest in the things that do not concern me. I bless my mind to think on those things that are true, noble, right, pure, admirable, and lovely. Things that will give me poise and serenity. I bless my mind with harmony. I bless my feet. Je bénis mes pieds. I bless my feet to be at the right place at the right time. I bless my feet to stand well and strong in times of adversities. I bless my step to be divinely ordered. I bless my feet to go places where I never even imagined going. Places full of beauty. I bless my feet. Je bénis mes pieds. I bless my feet with an enlarged territory, where the ground where I step on is even holy. Places where favor is granted to me. I bless my heart. Je bénis mon cœur. I bless my heart to willingly forgive and let go. I bless my heart to forgive and be forgiven. I am willing to forgive and bless those who have hurt me, consciously or unconsciously. May those I've ever wronged forgive me as well. I refuse to host on anger, grudges, and bitterness. I let go. I let go of resentment and of petty disagreement. I bless my heart. Je bénis mon cœur. I bless my heart with the ability to move forward, pressing on to better things and to better days. I bless my heart to know more love, more light, and more joy. I bless my hands. Je bénis mes mains. I bless my hands to be productive and fruitful. I refuse to be busy like weed growing widely. I bless my hands to walk purposefully. I bless my hands to do things well and with excellence. I bless my work to be done with good motives and to be impactful. I bless my mouth. Je bénis ma bouche. I bless every cell, organ, and tissue of my body with great health and vitality. I bless the abundance of my heart to be filled with good, so that my lips in every area of my life may overflow only with quality. I bless my words, that my lips intuitively speak or be sealed when my words are never kind nor necessary. I bless my mouth, je bénis ma bouche, so that my words may heal, strengthen, and clothe myself and others with divine prosperity. I bless my words to boomerang back to me at the right time and the right way, either I call the effects, manifestations, or testimonies. Claiming that only good things become a reality, using my mouth as a rudder, I intend to cause some beautiful chain reactions with irreversible positive effects, sailing to green pastures and divine destinations. I bless my words to spark a big fire that will destroy the bad things, past, present, and future. Keep the wolves away. Lighten our path and our spirit. I bless my mouth. Je bénis ma bouche. I now decree all things blessed. I receive all these blessings on the grace and in the most perfect way. This blessing I bless myself and others with, like a potion that will make us healthy, mind, body, and soul. I bless myself to love myself better so that I can love my neighbor better. I bless, I bless, I bless. Je bénis, je bénis, je bénis. I receive, I receive, I receive. Je reçois, je reçois, je reçois. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Merci, merci, merci. Your humble lover, lover of self and of others. L'amour guérit tout. Love heals all. N'nako Kandé, that was me.
Wow. Okay. I don't know what to say. That was so beautiful. I'm just like blown away. Marsha's got a question. Thank you.
It's actually a comment. It's like a daily affirmation that we should like be speaking over ourselves, over our lives, over those around us every single day.
Yeah, that's how it came about actually. The words came in a prayer. And the challenging thing is that when I say I bless my mouth to speak good, you know, like I say, with intention, I start the poetry night with intention. We all get challenged when we're tempted to say something that we may regret. But at the end, the day when those words came to me, I was going through something very painful, and I had the choice to curse and vent and cry. I did cry, or complain to God. And those are the words that came to me in prayer. And we underestimate the power of our words. We use them too much to hurt other people, like I say in intention. We want to speak our mind and say it as it is. But we underestimate what the words do to people. Our words can be so damaging. And I come from a family of griot. My uncle was a world famous griot. And what a griot is, he has the responsibility of telling stories and praises of people, generations after generation. That's my bloodline, that's my family, that's my legacy. And with that, I understand that aside from whatever I may believe in, I have a spiritual responsibility with my mouth and with my heart. So the scriptures say, you know, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And sometimes we say things, oh, that's just what I'm thinking. But he also say what your heart is feeling or what your heart is thinking. Otherwise, your words will not be saying the same. So in those blessings, I'm intentional about starting with my feet, every part of my body. But we have to be so much better with what we do, that tongue that we were blessed with. Some people can talk. We can. So my thing is that just like we have to be intentional with kindness, we have to be intentional with our speech too. So that's what the self-love blessing is. And you cannot give something that you don't have. So we have to love our neighbors as ourselves, and I think a lot of time we fail to love our neighbors because we don't love ourselves. And that's the challenge of the self-love blessing. Let me bless myself and love myself so that I can better love others, and that I want the blessing that I have to overflow back to you guys. And I hope you were blessed.
Yeah, obviously that's another one that's just so well thought out. Hey, I feel like I know you both so much more after this. You know, I've just known you, I know you both casually, I've known Kelly longer, but this kind of exposure from the heart, your poetry, speaking these deep things that are so powerfully personal. Everyone's probably saying, oh yeah, wow, I didn't know N'nako had all that. Now, which book is that in?
This is Potion of Passion.
Okay, Potions of Passion.
I will be
Potion of
buying this book.
Passion. Yeah. And you have it back on your table?
Yes, it's back on the table. We have some of the artwork from the book available as print greeting cards. And I have bookmarks with handwritten drawing too. So.
Okay, and you'll have them on Saturday the 11th at the
Oh yes, definitely.
Literary Lounge. Yeah,
Definitely.
And Kelly has her book here. So let's see. I'm supposed to wrap things up, and I am totally unprepared. Wrapping up. What do you guys think?
Thank you.
Okay. So just as we finish, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And I have nothing else to say except for follow Chattanooga Writers Guild and Rhyme and Chat on Facebook, and you can keep up with more events like this. Thank you both of you ladies.
Thank you, Mark.
So much. Good night.
Let me get one like this. Look at him. I don't see what it is now. I feel like I'm bumping it right here. It's good. It's good. It's good. No, I'm too short. And I'm gonna get out your picture, and then you can get the picture that you were really trying to get. There it is. There. I should have made this a video. Well, I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
Look. Thank you, Bravo! Bravo! Work it out. I got you.
He fixed it for Malcolm, but he didn't. He pulled it back together. $97.
It's working.
Yeah, that's working. But he's looking. I hope you'll be there. Okay. So,
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. Well, I'm going to be taking my time here. I got a lot to do. Well, in about. It's going to take a few minutes, about 10 minutes. I'm trying to pull up my van and carry it all out. But I'm not sure what you would like to do because it's kind of technical. I have it organized like this. All the microphones go in this bag.
Do you pull the cords out the back of them, or you keep the cords attached?
They all have to be this tag.
Okay.
So the cords and the microphones go in those bags. All the other. It's just such a mess.
yes, yeah.